I had a lady comment the other day on one of my videos that she was struggling to understand how somebody could take themselves home with assisted death. So, someone who's suffering with cancer and can't deal with the pain and they have an assisted death, or even somebody who suicides because they're taking their life. And a lot of us were brought up with some kind of Christian or Catholic belief or some religious belief that it's wrong to give the gift because our life is a gift. It's a blessing, and to give it away like that is wrong. Like it's a bad thing. Now, even I, when as a child, was brought up to be dragged off to Sunday school in a Christian belief system. I didn't go for very long. I kept telling my mother that's not for me. That was for her. That was her. She right up until the day she died, she had a Christian belief. Um, Not for me. I even had an uncle who was a pastor in a church. Not for me. I have total respect for their belief and the way they conducted their lives, very caring people, but just my belief system is different. So growing up, I had that belief taught to me that you can't give the gift of life away. You can't take your own life. That's slapping God in the face, basically. And even when so I heard it from church beliefs, I heard it from my parents, I heard it from my grandparents. These were things that were programmed into my brain belief system. Even when I was 16, I went to the drive-in and there was a documentary on about life after death. And that was back in the 1970s. And the documentary was focusing on people that had had near-death experiences, but also it focused on this one particular person who had tried to commit suicide and it didn't succeed. And the story that this person told was horrific. They didn't go to a white light, they didn't go to a tunnel, they went to a dark place when there was demons trying to grab at them. And as a 16-year-old, that kind of influenced my programming, my belief system. So up until then, I had been taught it was wrong, that you went to a bad place if you suicided or tried to get your life taken before it's meant to. And that was an instilled thought. So, and when you have an instilled thought, you believe it's true for you. As the years have gone on, as I have developed more into this field and as I have connected with so many spirits that have come through, it has totally changed my perspective on what humans have taught me. I much rather listen to what spirit teaches me because I feel like that's pure. What other humans tell me from their belief system doesn't feel pure. So I remember having this contact with this. I had a whole row of young males that had suicided, and their relatives had contacted me, and it was this real. It was like they all. It was threefold what was happening. I was bringing comfort to the person that was living. I was learning about the soul of the one that suicided, and I was developing something within myself, changing a belief system. They weren't in a dark place. They were they all still went to love. They all go back to love because it's the soul. Its soul is made out of love. The soul energy is made from love. And so that where they came from, they went back to, even though they had a traumatic life. And the way I see it now, after being gone through my near death experience and seeing that there is no judgment. So if there is your belief system that there is a God that has control of everything, that created everything, would your God judge you? Or would your God just love you as you are? Because you hear so many people say that God loves you as you are and accepts you as you are. It's just I am. Therefore I am God. God is in me. It's not away from me, which means we would self-analyze ourselves. Human beings can't always cope. And in my belief, God doesn't want to see them suffering. So if if their choice is to take themselves home again because they just can't cope with the suffering, I don't feel there is a judgment for that. When the soul, like, so say it was me and I was, dying of cancer, and I couldn't stand the pain anymore, and it was just horrific, and my body could not cope, my mind couldn't cope, and I died through assisted dying, and I left my body. I feel like the soul then gets that review, and it's not even a judgment. I've said this so many times. It's not a judgment. It's a knowing and an acceptance. So the soul will go, okay, I can see that human being could not cope. I'm not going to punish that human being anymore. I'm not going to make it like it's just that the soul kind of goes, well, I might decide to come back in another life and have another experience and see if that human can cope. Because we come here for lessons, we come here for growth, but we don't have to take the growth, do we? So right at this moment, there could be a lesson for you that you're supposed to be learning, anything in your life that you're supposed to be learning, and you're not getting it. But does that mean God is judging you as stupid or turning his back on you, or you're not good enough because you're not getting the lesson? No. You're still accepted. You're still loved. So why would we judge somebody that has taken themselves home or suicided or had assisted dying? From a negative viewpoint, you could say they've taken the gift away. But on a positive viewpoint, you could be offering them your love and compassion to say, I'm so sorry that you're going through so much that you can't cope, because you're not in their shoes. You're looking at a situation from how you feel about yourself. You're looking at other people from your belief system and how you feel. And if you're perfectly healthy and you're getting around every day, how could you possibly understand what it feels like to be crippled with pain? You can't know that. And I've always said this about anything, really, unless you go through it, how can you empathize with somebody else? You can sit there and go, look, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. But unless you've actually experienced it, how do you really know what it feels like? Somebody that's been sexually assaulted knows what another person feels like, knows that invasion. Somebody else that's had cancer knows that fear and knows that vulnerability. Somebody else that's had heartbreak understands what that is. Somebody who's never been able to give birth to a child would know what other people feel like. People that have given birth to children know what that feels like. It's like you have to go through the experience to really understand it. So by judging somebody else for wanting to take themselves home or them taking their life, you're judging something within yourself. You're judging yourself because you're not like, when you're just a soul, you have total love and compassion for somebody else. There is no judgment. So God loves you. God loves everybody just as they are. So why would God judge somebody, or why would spirit make a judgment? And even like your spirit guides right now are trying to get you to grow in some way. They're putting situations in front of you to get you to grow. Are you seeing the growth? What is this teaching me? Or are you too focused on what the other person is doing? Let me know if you struggle with things like that, if you struggle with when somebody else has done something that goes against a belief system that you hold.